what are some of the things that you're doing to help build a culture around supporting some of the initiatives that you have in place?
It's a very complicated process. I mean, there's a multitude of things going on, but when I try to sort of bucket them in a manageable, understandable way, right, there's kind of three areas of focus for us. One is around, when you think about diversity, for example, is bringing in the talent. So creating the story, which is why I'm out there telling the story a lot, as are many of my colleagues, so that people know that we care about this stuff, so you can attract the talent that you want. We're trying to cast the widest net to get the best talent in the door. And that requires a multitude of different exercises, telling the story, as I said, going out to different events and engaging talent from different venues from all over the world and from different skill sets. So it starts with that part of the employee life cycle. Then you put in place the development aspects of it. So the development programs, so sponsorship programs, for example, are really, really important for diverse talent, frankly for all talent. Everybody really should have a sponsor, but we try to put in place those more formal programs to help people get that support that they need. Leadership development programs around some of these core skills I mentioned around relationship and leadership, for example. So you've got the development aspect. Then you've got the attrition and the engagement aspect, and we spoke about that in terms of building that into the survey and making sure that our managers and our leaders understand what engagement means and how to engage their employees accordingly, and then measure that. And then to follow the development and advancement of the talent over time. So it's really that whole employee life cycle from entering the organization through to development, advancement, and attrition. At the same time, we have a lot of different initiatives in place to allow our employees to get actively involved in these spaces, right? So for example, in a lot of organizations, this is critical to really have what we call business resource groups, or formerly affinity groups. So we have 8 at Thomson Reuters, and what I mean by that is women at Thomson Reuters, our Asian Affinity Network, our LGBT community. So groups of individuals who are coming together to be themselves with their counterparts, to have this affinity, but also to help drive the business. It's not just about affinity and the social aspect, it's also about how do we find the best talent in these different communities? And people do that through their networks, and they also have the opportunity, therefore, to influence the business as well. So we have a whole infrastructure in place around the business resource groups. We have a whole infrastructure in place around green teams for our sustainability effort. So that's all of the people who say, this really matters to me, I want to help raise awareness, let's get people excited about sustainability. And similarly, on the community investment side, we then have in place our global volunteer network. So around the globe, a group of individuals who care about volunteering, who are out there talking about the options and getting people to basically do it. So it's multifaceted. And I think if you think about the big picture, there's a couple things that really need to be in place. Number one, you've got to have the support at the top. I wouldn't have taken this job if our CEO and our Chief People Officer were not behind this. So you got to have that top leadership. Number two, you've got to have the clear business case, which, as I mentioned now, is a little bit becoming obsolete in the sense that people know it, but you got to set that business case up from the beginning so people actually feel accountable for it. And finally, on the accountability topic, you got to hold people accountable for this step. So we've also worked into our performance management system some very specific goals for people around diversity and inclusion, for example, that will actually impact their rating and therefore their compensation in the end.